Scott Kilby talks in his work, The Living Inquiries, about core deficiency beliefs or core deficiency stories. And these are stories and beliefs about ourselves that have formed because of experiences that we've had. And when we have the experience of, for instance, feeling unworthy or unlovable or damaged goods or whatever our experience is, we feel that way over and over and over again, especially in childhood, then we tend to form a belief that we are that. This inquiry is to look into those beliefs and to see if the evidence or the experience of something having happened and of us having felt a certain way over time, number one, would still be true, but is that me? Is the experience or the evidence of experience, is that me, the deficient self? So this is a form of the living inquiries called the unfindable inquiry. And as we do with any inquiry, we're going to look at words and pictures and sensation or feelings in our body. We may have done an inquiry many, many times on this, or it might be new. It doesn't matter really so much whether we've done it before. We're really just looking for our direct experience of what we can see in the moment. So as we see words and pictures are coming up, we're noticing that there's sensation in the body that's associated with those thoughts. And we just look at the three elements: words, pictures, and sensations. Bring to mind what your core beliefs are and just choose one that seems like it has some trigger or charge to it, just meaning that you have a response to it. There's some very common ones, like I mentioned, I'm unlovable. If we have an experience of being neglected or hurt or abused, then we will often form a belief that we don't deserve to be loved, we don't deserve to be cared for. So there's all kinds of wordings that we might have, or we might form the belief that we're not good enough or that we're not safe. Those are really common beliefs that people have. So just take a moment to think about what your belief might be and the words that you might work with today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could just be whatever comes to mind right now. And as we go through the inquiry, I will just say the words I am, and then you just fill in the blank with whatever you're working with. And then let's take a step back for a moment and notice our body. Notice the breath. We've just been noticing thoughts and words and pictures, perhaps even by now, of this story. Certainly we've got the words that we're going to look at. And we're noticing that we have a response in our body. It's not a neutral experience to be looking at a deficiency belief. We have many, many years or decades of experience believing that. It goes back to a time when we were vulnerable and our brains weren't fully developed and something had gone wrong. We weren't being cared for, protected, and loved and nourished by our caregivers. So notice the experience in your body from head to toes. And take a moment to relax your physical body, the muscles of your body. Common places to hold tightness or tension are through the forehead and the eyebrows. The jaw, the hinges of your jaw, your mouth, your tongue. Notice the back of your neck and your shoulders. We often have a defensive shielding through the back of the neck and shoulders, the large muscles of the upper back. And notice your chest and your stomach as well, both the muscles as well as the movement of your body with your breath. Anchor in for a moment to that rhythm of your breath and see if you can allow your breath to be pretty effortless and smooth. As you finish the exhalation, just let yourself come really smoothly into the inhalation. No pauses or breaks in the breath. When you're finished breathing in, let the breath go. And notice your body for energy. When we're looking at deficiency stories or anything that has a charge on it where we're having some kind of response, part of the response could be thoughts, but also part of it will be in the body. We'll have a certain location for the energy, it'll feel a certain way, and it probably feels very familiar. So scan your body, notice what's happening in your body and the energy. And as we move through the inquiry and words and memories perhaps come up, try and keep the perspective of someone who's looking at thought, not someone who's absorbed in thought. Whatever the thoughts are that are coming up, if they're thoughts of the past, they're things that happened in the past, they're not happening right now. What's happening right now is that thoughts are coming up and we're watching them and we're responding to them. Responses are either other thoughts and most likely energy in the body as well. So we're just going to take some time, starting with looking at the words, whatever it is that you've come up with that you're going to work with. I am, and then we're going to watch and see our response, trying to maintain the observer as we're looking at these. Remain a bit in touch with your breath as well, with your body. So when we start looking at those words, we could see them in our mind's eye, like they're written on a piece of white paper, or if we feel there's a lot of energy with them and we want to have our eyes open, that's fine. You could open your eyes and put those words up on the wall. Notice that there's space between you and the words, and that these are letters and shapes that you're looking at. And if we had happy words up there, they might look a little less dense, they might be more colorful or lighter. But with deficiency stories, they tend to be fairly solid looking. And they might even feel kind of menacing. So bring the words up in your mind's eye. And if you like, also hear them. Some people respond more to the sound of the words in their mind. They might even be in someone's voice. So you could listen to the words either as well as or instead of looking at them. I am. And notice if evidence comes up to support that belief. How is it exactly that you know that you are unlovable or unworthy? Is it something about the energy itself? And the energy in our body is very associated with experiences that we had of feeling that way. So the energy itself gets kind of saturated with that feeling or with that belief. But there's always thought as well. So notice what thoughts come up in response to looking at those words, I am. Thoughts come in as words and images. Images could be still clips or videos. A whole bunch might come in together and you could put them up like a collage. Different images, different memories, different words. Or you could look at them one by one. If something comes up and stays, look at that. Notice the response in your body. We'll come back to the energy in the body in a moment. For now, work with whatever words or images are coming up for you. If you have one, if you're looking at a whole bunch of them. And notice that this is evidence for the belief. These are memories, probably, of experiences that have happened. You could have a fragment of an image of someone's face. You might have a whole scene kind of playing out. You might have a little memory clip of something. And none of these are happening right now. These are things that are coming up because they're associated with this belief. We're just having a look. Remain aware of your breath. The eyes can be open, especially if it's quite triggering. If you're having a strong response, you're welcome to have the eyes open. Put the words and the pictures over on a wall. Notice all the space around them, the space between you and the words. Notice your breath. And look to see, is that me? That collection of evidence of words and pictures. Is that me, the one who is damaged goods, the one who is worthless? Is that a person? And there's no right or wrong answers. We're really just looking. If we're having a strong response to the pictures and the words, then we could take that as a yes. There's something in us that believes that that's true. Maybe it's even quite subtle. It's a fragment of a memory of believing that. But there's still some kind of an energy that's being that's reacting to those words or the images. Take a few deep breaths. Situate yourself in your body. Notice your feet, the soles of the feet, the energy. If you have your feet on the floor, notice the energy that goes down through the floor into the ground. Notice that you're still breathing. And let's turn our attention to the energy itself. Just for a moment, noticing the energy again. What does it feel like? Where is it? And as we're doing that, new pictures, new thoughts might come in, or maybe the pictures or one in particular seems like it really is still kind of grabbing your attention. So let's work with the thoughts for a moment again, and then we'll come back to the body again. So looking at the pictures, the mental pictures of that in our mind. Notice if you can put a frame around it so that we're aware that we're looking at images that are coming up. If there are words, we could see them as a caption. We could hear them, hear the sound of them maybe. And if you can't put a frame around it and see the space to the outside of it, maybe you could move the whole image up into the corner of your vision. Just notice that these are images that are in the mind. They come. They weren't here 2 days ago. They weren't here half an hour ago. They're here right now because we're looking at the words. We're looking at the evidence for this. And we haven't felt like this every moment of our life. We haven't had this in our mind. These are things that come and go. Be aware of the body and the breath. And as you're looking at the picture, notice if you can see the space all around it. Either an individual picture or this collage. Bring your eyes up to the top of the picture. We're not going to look at the details anymore. We're just going to look at the space around the outside edges. It might be a big space, it might be a little space, whatever it is fine. And then let your eyes move to the right and down the side of the images, around the bottom. Go clockwise around that space 2 or 3 times. And then the other direction a few times. And then look back at the picture. Notice if it's changed, if it's the same, if the level of intensity is the same, if it has the same kind of attraction or compulsion to look at it. Notice the energy in your body right now, and then let's work with the energy a bit. If the pictures get kind of compelling, we can always come back and look at them again in this way. Right now, let's let the words and the pictures move aside and work directly with the energy. We notice where it is in our body. We notice what it feels like. Is it cold? Is it moving? Is it still? Is it threatening in some way? Does it feel like that energy could hurt us? Does it feel like it wants to hurt us? Notice if there's an intention to hurt in the energy that you're feeling right now. And if you're getting a yes to that, it means that there's some way that you know that. There must be some words or some pictures. And then you could look at those. If you're not getting the sense of a bad intention in the energy, just in the energy itself, then see if you could put your attention right in the center of it. This is the energy that comes up as we're looking at these words, I am. We've looked at thoughts that have come in about that. Now we're paying attention. We're paying attention to the energy itself. And we're always working with respect and kindness. If it feels like it's too much to go directly into the energy, we could notice the space around the edges. We could work with our breath for a bit. We could open our eyes and look around, wiggle our toes, warm our hands together. Anchor yourself into this moment in time through your breath. And however it feels comfortable for you, pay attention to the energy, either to the energy itself directly, or by noticing where the energy is and where it is not. There's a boundary or an end to the energy. It doesn't fill up the whole universe. Notice if it's in your whole body or if it's centered in a part of your body. And as we work with some mining questions, we're not trying to figure it out or answer these in the mind. We're just really paying attention to the words as they come in, and then see what arises from that. Why is this energy here? What does it have to tell me? Notice if this is a familiar energy. And look to see, is this energy, is this the deficient self? Is this the one who is unlovable or unworthy? Just the energy itself. We've looked at the attributes of it, the heat, the cold, if it's still, if it's pulsing, we have an image for it maybe. Does it have a color, a shape? Continue to pay attention to the energy and look to see if that's you, the one who is deficient in some way. And if it feels like it is, then that means there's images or words that are still associated with the energy. We could look at them. If they seem persistent, we could just let them sit there. Really paying attention to the energy itself. Is that you, the one who's unworthy? And there's no right or wrong answer to that question. It's a question we can come back to many, many times as we're able to sit with the thoughts and the energy without being dragged into them. We're maintaining that perspective of the witness or the watcher. Our experiences come up and they're seen, we're attending to them. A bit of the Velcro around that core belief starts to loosen up. The images are seen and they don't need to be there anymore. They lose some of their charge. So we're going to leave the inquiry now, but just to notice that you can come back to it whenever you like. Whenever you have a thought come into your head that relates to the experiences that you had that formed the belief, then you could just stop and do this simple inquiry. Look at the words, hear them. Notice what pictures are there. These are the thoughts that are associated with it. Put some space around them. Come into the energy itself. As we attend to our experience in this way, the beliefs start to loosen. We realize that's not me. And then bring yourself back to your body. Notice your whole body from head to toes. Take a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Scott Kilby has developed a trigger worksheet. You can download it at my website, nondualinquiry.com. Use that in conjunction with this inquiry.